Now, couldn't find a better fit for them, along with my crown. And since the baton was passed, I've been down, cause failing's not an option, and dad is not a noun. Not at all.
Welcome to another episode of Dad is Not a Noun. My name is Ishmael, changing the narrative for men of color fatherhood, as well as changing the narrative on the things I care about. And today, I truly honored to have this guest on. She's doing amazing work, not just locally, around different states, even I would say international. And I wanted to have her on to talk about what she's doing and how she's impacting community. Because in the world that we live in, we see a lot of devastation, destruction, individualism, and her common denominator is community. And I'm truly honored to have her on. I call her Queen Bernise. Thank you for coming on. How you doing, Queen?
Oh my goodness, peace and blessings. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I am doing excellent. I have a thing that I say that every day above ground is a great day, you know, to remind myself to be grateful. Um, Another thing I say is just because you're having a bad situation, it still doesn't make it a bad day. And just try to stay positive. I'm doing well. I hope you are doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. I'm just privileged that I get a chance to talk to you because usually we talk via DM wise or text wise here and there. But to have a face to face conversation with you is just amazing by itself. Um, my next question I ask all my guests because I'm all about mental health. And you're going to probably know the question I'm going to ask you. How's your heart?
Man, my heart is full of gratitude. Um, I have been dealing with a lot of challenges in my life, as many people are, still recovering from the pandemic and all the support that I have. Um, I have so much to be grateful for that it doesn't allow me time to really focus on those negative things that are happening. I mean, everybody, we say life is life and everybody has things going on, but we don't let it bring us down. And I'm grateful to just all of my friends, my family, um, for just all the love and support that they show me constantly. And I never take that for granted. I'm grateful for life. So my heart is just full of gratitude.
And I love that word you use, gratitude. Just talk about the power of gratitude when it comes to the work you do, community, because often you don't hear those two words together.
Oh man, gratitude when it comes to the community. Working in the community, in my opinion, helps to keep you humble. It helps to remind you of what we are supposed to be, a community. Because unfortunately, there are not a lot of communities that are working as a unified force, and ours is that. There has been so many what I call residual effects from slavery that still are pervasive in our communities, and we are divided on so many levels. There's a book, I do not recall the author, but it is called The Willie Lynch Letter. I don't know if you've heard of this book or if
Yes.
you've had a chance to read this book, but I remember reading this book, and it was basically the making of a slave and how the slave master used all of our differences, every little difference, uh, use that as a way to divide us. Um, it's just like if you have children and you're making comparisons to, and which makes one feel worse than the other or make them feel some type of way when it's not even necessary. I mean, they love used everything, our complexions, our hair textures, our eye colors, any little thing, any little differences. And they said, if we continue to do this, keep them divided over those petty little things, after a while, we won't have to do it anymore. They'll continue to do it themselves. And I see that in our communities, which is pretty sad, um, because when I'm working in the community and the different things that I do, um, you have aspects of our community that judges each other, like we're better than, or this is less than. And I mean, we are family, we are people. um, Man, if you're really not thinking about your community, man, it's just trying to find the right words. I can give an example of Trayvon Martin, right? When that happened to the family, may he rest in peace. Trayvon Martin, that young man looked just like my son. When I saw his face, my heart just, I needed to talk to him. I needed to confirm that that was not my son on the screen. If I could show you them face to face, the difference between them was the eyes, because everybody has their own eyes. And I was just like, oh my gosh. But that affected me so much, even though that was not my biological son, that the pain of that mother, and man, what people go through with their children, with their loved ones. If you really put yourself in those shoes, maybe we would be more patient or more kind. And if we were really practicing that do unto others as we want done unto us, then maybe that will help us to be what we need to be to have community stronger and better.
Definitely. And when I think of community, I think about your logo in the background, the learning tree. I look at you, you are the tree you have, and what you're doing in the different communities is you're extending help where you can help in a different community. But going to the mental health aspect of it, with so much work that you do in the community, what do you do for yourself to keep pouring it into other people?
You know what? I think working in the community is something that I do for myself,
Mm,
honestly, because I've worked jobs before. I have a part-time job right now, and doing that job is not fulfilling. It's not rewarding. It's something to do. I mean, we can learn. I love learning, uh, which is why it's part of the name. And I feel like learning is a lifelong love of mine. I enjoy learning. I like knowing how things work. So I find benefits in everything that I do. I can learn from this. But my purpose for learning is also to share, you
mm,
know? And so when I have the opportunity to be in the community, that for me is healing for me mentally. It reminds me that I have a purpose. It gives me the opportunity to share my gifts and my talents, the things that I have been gifted naturally by the Creator, or I've had the opportunity to grow, and skill and share those things is beneficial. Being able to have conversations, being able to uh, be a listening ear, um, supporting others with their ideas. Oh man, the energy that comes from that is amazing, and that fuels me. The hard part about it is it doesn't always make money, you know. And really, one of my goals is to have a nonprofit um, that helps me to support people uh, doing what I love. That's necessary, but uh, it's very helpful because we need each other. We need each other. So working in the community is not only beneficial to those that I serve, but it serves a purpose for me as well.
Definitely. And just talk about the inspiration behind the learning tree. How did it get started? Um, talk about just talk about the learning tree.
Okay, so, well, Miss Bernie's Learning Tree. Actually, this name, my nephew helped me with the name because I was like, as a creative person, I came up with so many multiple ideas, but I wanted to include learning in it because um, there are a lot of technologies that are being activated right now that really discourage learning or don't give us the challenges that we used to have. And it's really giving us almost nothing to do. And it's feeding a lot of the that lazy part of us that doesn't want to do this, or I don't feel like doing this, and I don't feel like taking the time to learn that because it might be hard. Where the benefit of that process that you go through, regardless of the struggle, the satisfaction that you get when you meet and overcome that obstacle, there's nothing like it. And then once you know it, you're able to share it better because you have that experience. you know um there's nothing like it. But if everything is just copy and paste or just easy, it's not the same. It's like cheating. You're not really learning. you
Yeah.
just you cheated. It's like, okay, did you really win? No. Did you really pass that test? No, you didn't. And you don't, on your inside, you're not going to have a good feeling about it because you didn't get it the right way. And so I love learning, and I love inspiring learning. I love encouraging learning. It's fun for me. I like knowing how things work. I like making discoveries. Um, I, I like accomplishing goals. So that's a part of it. The tree, because there's many branches of learning, and also because I am a plant lover. I love nature and growing things, and so there's just so many things to it. I don't know if you noticed, but the leaves are actually books.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So books, which you know, reading is one of the best ways to learn.
Yeah,
And we're I don't know if we should ever come away from books.
I agree.
um, I have evolved into using audiobooks, which I didn't use as often as I did post pandemic. I mean, or during the pandemic. And it was only because I was able to get more information faster.
Right.
And I made a discovery about myself that part of my learning style is auditory. I love being able to listen um, as well. So um, this just so many things. Got my little heart in there because I love learning.
Yeah.
So actually drew this logo. I made this logo myself. So I designed it with just so many things in mind. The love of learning, the love of books, the love of growth. The tree represents growth because in the learning process, we grow as we are learning. Trees evolve, the branches fall off, they go through their different cycles, and then they become renewed every year. That should be us. With all
Right.
of our learning, we become renewed. So there's so many things, but it's really about learning and evolving and growing. So, and this just to me encompasses that, the many branches of learning. Yeah.
And I enjoy that logo. You mesh nature with learning because
Yeah.
like nature is constantly learning.
Yes.
Nature is constantly adapting to what humans do to nature.
Yeah.
That could be a different conversation, but
Yeah.
but it's constantly adapting, and I love that when you say in your mission statement, growth, wealth with literacy. I love that. I
Yes.
love that.
Yeah.
I think that's important. I think Just all forms of literacy is important just to grow as a human
Yes.
being. But just talk about the stuff, talk about the things that the learning tree offers to people that's interested.
Oh my goodness. You kind of mentioned some of it. So literacy is I would say the headline, right? But literacy encompasses so many things. I do help people that struggle with literacy, that need help with reading and reading comprehension. I offer consultations. I am able to conduct a learner's test to help people to understand what their learning style is, because that is important. That's something that is often missed in education. Everybody doesn't learn the same way. And so, if someone is able to discover how they actually learn, then they can realize, hey, there's nothing wrong with me. This is how I process information. This is how some people are auditory. It helps them to listen to things. Some people are visual learners. Some people are what they call tactile learners, where it's hands-on experience. Um, some people is a mix of all those things. Everybody processes different information in their own way, and so that helps. I do private tutoring if I'm not already booked. I do storytelling, which I enjoy. Uh, I am willing to fly if you want to fly me in to do a story time in the classrooms. Um, I do also, I've helped some seniors with technology, be tech literate, so they can learn different aspects of some of the technology that's growing so fast. I don't know everything, but I know enough to help them to get comfortable with their devices. Um, and even not even just seniors, many people who are what we call functionally illiterate struggle with technology. So when I am helping those who have reading challenges, I also incorporate life skills into it. Um, for example, there was someone an adult that I was tutoring, that wanted to um, take a CDL test. And this person um, could read, but read at a very low reading level, and struggled with comprehension. And so, in our arranging to do tutoring, this individual did not had to learn many things, such as, oops, excuse me, I'm going to plug this in. Um, had to learn how to use a cell phone properly, how to use a tablet, how to navigate through email. Um, Man, because those things that sometimes we take for granted. Please excuse me. I need to
No,
plug
no
this
problem.
in so my computer doesn't die. Um, those things that we take for granted that we know how to do. Oops.
It happens. Don't worry about it. That's the beauty of this being recorded because I can edit stuff out. So,
I
it,
mean, it's technology.
Oh yeah.
Technology. I didn't realize that it wasn't plugged in.
No, that's okay. That's okay. But if you want to start over again,
No, that's
um,
fine.
okay,
I
okay,
mean, this is real life. These things happen, right?
okay. No, it definitely does. But you were elaborating about the gentleman with the CDL, and
Yeah. So, because this was a virtual, right? And the first discovery that we made was that this person did not know how to log into a Zoom. So, and in that also discovered that this person did not know how to use their cell phone properly and normally got assistance with that. Most people that I find who struggle with literacy don't know how to do all of those things, and they will often have someone that helps them with it. There's normally, usually, at least one person that they know and they trust um, that helps them with everyday tasks. Often they hide the fact that they are not literate or they struggle with it um, because of embarrassment, because of not wanting to be judged, um, just trying to figure it out, you know. And often by the time I have an interaction with them, it's because I was referred by someone, not that they sought it out on their own. Many people that struggle with literacy try to hide it until they get to a point where they can't they can't take it anymore. Many of the people that I have met who are functionally illiterate are oh, highly intelligent, very good at what they do. They tend to stick to doing the same thing, so it's easy for them to find work. They're normally the most productive, and often in positions of leadership. And where I encounter them is where they have an opportunity for promotion that may require a test that they are not able to take. So, as was the case with this gentleman and someone else that I knew, they needed to be able to take a test, and they knew that they weren't going to be able to take this test without any help. So, somebody said, "Hey, talk to Miss Bernise; she'll help you." And so I was helping this person to study for their test. We had to incorporate visuals because something that many people don't understand, just because you can read a word doesn't mean that you understand it as well, which was one of the major issues for this individual. And so when I'm teaching them, I incorporate what's most necessary. So for that person, part of the reading was the test manual, uh, getting familiar with the questions, the answers, looking at videos, and asking common questions, or going over different scenarios. But there was so many things that encompassed that before we could even get to the actual studying of the CDL, how to use a phone, discovering what a hotspot or um, because this person thought that they could not use their phone or have access to Wi-Fi or data until they were home. They didn't know that they could do it from their phone. They didn't know how to use a tablet. I had to walk them through how to use Zoom, how to interact with email. So we had to create an email address. I said, because even when you apply for a job, they may ask for an email. They may want to send you something. How to do a search through an email. How to just so many things. Um, it's incredible, and they were super excited about it. Um, to see that feeling of accomplishment that they had from learning that. I was like, wow, I never did this before. I never knew how to do it. I didn't think I could do it. And because automatically, they often will go to that person and be like, can you help me with this? Or can you do this for me? And their friend will do it for them. Their person will do it for them. Um, And I had to intervene a couple of times and say, can you please stop doing it for them and allow them the opportunity to learn? I said, show them how to do it. Show them how to do it. And sometimes I would have their person there. So if they felt frustrated, um, or if there was something that they could not explain
Hmm.
properly, then we were able to work together to help support this person that was in need of help. Um, Sometimes their person feels like that they're helping them, and they are to a degree, but not allowing them to learn, or not showing them, just doing it for them and not showing them is really more detrimental than doing everything for them. And then so those life skills are important and should not be taken for granted. And so I incorporate that with it. I also started making books.
Yep, I was gonna get to that definitely. But
I,
going back to what you were alluded to is
Mhm.
going back to like that power of
Excuse me.
that's okay.
Sis, I
You're
love
in
you so
demand.
much. Let me say that first. I am on a Zoom right now. May I call you back? Okay, love you.
I love it. You're in demand, and I love that.
That's my people. That is my people. That's one of my sisters.
Nice.
She's learning how to sew.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Uh, and so and that's another thing that goes back to community. When you
Right.
support people in something that they want to learn, you build bonds. Um,
Yes.
and this is somebody that we work together often. We do things in the community together. We help to give out food to the community with another organization on Wednesdays and Fridays to the
Mhm.
community. Do a lot of community outreach things. So that's one of my people. We check on each other. Like, are you all right today? I'm all right. How are you? How are you doing?
Nice,
Yeah, so
nice.
we do that for each other.
But like I was alluded to, is like that power of gratitude of changing people's lives. That you get to do that on an
Yeah.
everyday basis, seeing people change and be better versions of themselves. So give
Yeah.
me that retrospect of how does that make you feel when you see those changes in people when you first initiate with them and then you see that growth.
It's exciting. It's always exciting. It's also humbling. It's humbling first because just because I've been in education for a long time, I don't take for granted the gravity of what we do. It's important because you can help to make or break a person with your words and your actions. And so I don't pretend to know everything. And I tell them that I say, I don't know everything. I said, and I feel like my job is to help them to be comfortable enough to ask as many questions as they need so we can accomplish the goal at hand. Um, whether it be in the classroom, outside of the classroom, um, ask questions. That's how I learn. I like knowing how things work, and I encourage them to do the same. Um, I said, no question is a dumb question, um, because you have a right to know. And so that's my approach to it. And once I see them, once they're comfortable, because sometimes they come on like, okay, what is this going to be like? Because I don't know what that person experience has been prior to meeting with me. Sometimes they've been through a situation where, they may have been belittled, or maybe they felt some type of way about their own self. I've had people say that they didn't feel like they were smart enough. They didn't think they could ever do it. And sometimes that came from other people,
Right.
but sometimes it also came from themselves. And so for them to make that discovery that you are very intelligent, uh, you can accomplish anything, and just keeping them encouraged, you know, um, that's a big deal. And I think also reminding them that I'm like, I don't know everything. Uh, I remember. I remember with the gentleman who I was helping with the CDL.
Okay.
When we were talking about just learning how to use a tablet, right? I said, okay, I promise you. I said, the major reason why I'm able to help you right now is because of the struggles that I went through trying to learn to use a tablet. I got an iPad for the first time, and I promise you, I wanted to throw it into the ocean, but I did not want to injure any sea
Right.
animals. And I said, I'm going to learn how to use these things. And as hard as it was, I told him, I said, I was one of those people with technology. I literally, and this is true, I thought that if I typed too hard or did the wrong thing on the computer, that it would literally combust, burst into flames somehow, that I would destroy this technology if I didn't do it right. And I was just like,
Right.
okay, no, you have to learn how to do this, right? And trial and error. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not being graded on it. Sometimes people's fear and trepidation come from their experiences in the classroom. That pressure of, oh, I have to get this right, or what if I get this wrong, or what if I don't know? And I'm like, it's okay. And I'm like, okay, listen, you're not getting graded on this. And even when I was in the classroom, I did not put grades on papers
Mm.
because I never wanted that to be the focus. I always told my students that you are here to learn, and my job is to help you learn. And I literally, I would say the first 2 to 3 weeks of every school year, I took time to get to know the students. And part of our learning was, do you know why you are here? And
Mm.
do you know why I'm here? What is my role? What am I supposed to be doing here for you? And many children could not answer that question.
Mm.
They didn't know that it was my job to help them, that
Right.
I was here to serve them. They thought I have to go to school. I got to pass this test. They think of school as testing and passing and getting grades and not about learning. And so with a child, when you they could have let's say they have something with 20 questions on it and they have 19 of them correct. That one X, they're going to focus on, oh, why is that wrong? So I never would even put an X on the paper. I would circle
Mm.
whichever one they had incorrect and give them the opportunity to go over it again and see, and so that they can understand why is it that this one was incorrect. And that helped them to learn. That helped them with troubleshooting.
Mm.
So they weren't focuses. They could focus on everything that they had correct and not be like, oh, I had this wrong. So um, just man, there's just so many aspects of learning and education that I feel like still need correction. Um, for us to have people who are excited about learning, um, that's the biggest benefit. Getting them excited about it and them wanting to keep coming back, them wanting to continue to learn. Um, I had another person that I helped to learn how to read, and they got to the point where they were so excited just to be able to read a newspaper. And I remember this person came to me and said, I still remember everything that you told me, and it's still helping me. And I've been able to read this where they would never read in front of anybody, they never would even try. And now they're reading newspapers and reading everything that they can. And just seeing the joy that they experience from that is it's wonderful.
And I can imagine because I could just see the smile coming from your face, like reflecting on the many people you help to read and seeing their growth. But
Yeah.
talking about reading, let's talk about your books. You
Books.
have some books with you. You can
I do. And I
please
have some
go.
in progress. I have some. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm very proud of this because uh, I enjoy writing very much. And so I self published my first children's book. And there are many things that inspired the book. This is my book.
Okay.
I'm very
Well,
proud of this. It took
goodbye
me
to
so,
nightmares. Okay.
it's Say Goodbye to Nightmares. There's so many reasons why I wrote this book. Um, so when I was in the classroom, I did project-based learning because I wanted the children to understand why they were learning these subjects and how it applied to things in real life so it could make sense. So we weren't just doing things on paper, we were putting it into reality, right, to help them with mastery and understanding. Um, and as I was helping some of the struggling readers, I remember asking one of the students, um, have you ever thought about writing a story or making a book? And they never thought about it before because they were just learning how to make sentences. And this was a ninth grader. This was a ninth grader learning how to read. And this student was like, that would be so cool. And I was like, wow. I said, wouldn't it be amazing to help a child that didn't know how to read to now become a published author? So I was just like, I wonder how you do it. So I wanted to learn how to do it so that I could then go back into the classroom and do that.
Wow.
And I didn't get the opportunity to do it because I'm no longer working at that school. During the pandemic, a lot of places shut down. And so I was not able to continue there, but I still am creating opportunities. That is something that I offer. I actually am willing to do literacy workshops. If any classrooms want to contact me, I would love to help your students become self published authors, to learn the process that I went through to make this book. And they don't have to know how to draw. I did do my illustrations, um, but how to go from words to sentences, from sentences to a story. It could be a book of poetry, it could be whatever they want. And so that they can learn the steps of how to become a self published author. So that was one of my major reasons for doing it. Um, the second inspiration was actually a little girl that I knew. I knew her since she was a baby. She was actually one of my youngest clients.
Okay.
Her parents hired me because it was her. They're like, "Well, we hear that you teach people how to read and you work with very young children." And I said, "Yes, I do." And I went to meet them, and they had this little bundle sitting up. She wasn't even sitting up straight yet. She was 9 months old, and they wanted me to start with her. And I said, okay. And I started with her. And by the time she was 1, she was already reading sight words. Um, and we just had to work on her motor skills because of her age. But yeah, got her up to level 2 sight words. She knew all her letters, her shapes, her numbers, colors. She knew them by sight. She knew the words.
Wow.
We were working on the spelling. She was learning how to spell. It was amazing. Um, yes, start them young. That's the best time, um, with repetition. And those are some of the things that I do consultations with. If people want to know, well, how do I do this? Uh, I I can help with that as well. But that little girl, who at the time of the writing of this book, she was turning 7. That's how
Mhm.
long I've known that young lady. And I was babysitting. I was looking after her, and I didn't know that she had gotten to a point in her life when she started having nightmares. And I
Mm.
was like, oh my God, I used to suffer from nightmares when I was a little girl, and to the point where I developed insomnia because I decided, you know what? I'm not going back to sleep because I did not want to go through that again.
Mhm.
And so I sympathized with her and I was like, I remember going through that. And I remember what helped me to overcome the nightmares. And so I shared that with her. And I shared those things with her. We did a couple of things, mainly conversations, trying to figure out what it is that was causing the nightmares, because often the nightmares come from something that's in our subconscious that's bothering us that we have not been able to address. Um, there were a lot of changes happening in her life, and so those things were giving her a feeling of instability. And so, and as children, you don't always know how to express those things, or you may not feel like you can, or you just don't think about it. So I remember when I was having nightmares, I didn't necessarily talk to anybody about it. I was just relieved to wake up, and I didn't think about it again until it's time to go to bed. And that's when I was like, okay, well then, and then sometimes you forget, and then you until you have another one. And um, but I learned that I had power over those dreams, and so that's what I share in my book. And it's different ways to empower those who are struggling with nightmares. This could be for adults as well. How to overcome those nightmares and address some of those things that are in your environment or on your mind that are causing you to have the nightmares. And so those are some of the things that are in this book. And so it was inspired by that. And just remembering that it wasn't a conversation. So this helps to open up that conversation. It could help the parents who may have a child who's struggling with that and don't know how to deal with it. It may be frustrating because you want to help them and don't know how. And it could also help the parents or some of the older siblings to realize that they may be causing it with some of the things that they're not thinking about, maybe what they're watching, what they're saying around them. Maybe their child saw something or heard something. Um, that they didn't quite know how to deal with or how to articulate, and it's manifesting in the form of nightmares. So this serves multi purposes. This is to help those that struggle with that, and yeah. So that's my story behind this story, and I'm in the process of, this is a little sneak peek, making another book.
Okay.
If we see this here.
Yeah, financial literacy activity book. Nice.
Yes. So, for those of you all who may not know, I started on social media with handwriting
Mm-hmm.
because that ninth grader, along with another one, there were two ninth graders that I met. One of them was reading at a second grade level, and the other one could not read at all. And so I was trying to figure out a way to support them outside of the classroom. Not that their parents didn't want to support them, but sometimes you have parents that are working all the time, or who may not know how to support them, or who sometimes are illiterate themselves, and maybe their child doesn't know that they can't read or they struggle with literacy. Um, and so I was like, okay, I remember we were working virtually. This was during the pandemic. And I was asking questions because we would practice together via Zoom, and their assignment was to go home and practice for at least this many minutes. And I remember one of them was like, "Well, Miss Bernise, I don't remember what your hand was doing," because they not only couldn't read, but they had to learn how to write.
Right.
And I was like, "Man," I said, "Okay, hmm." I said, "You don't know how to read or write." I said, "But do you know how to get on YouTube?" Of course. I said, "Okay, you know how to get on YouTube?" I said, "Well, I'm gonna get on YouTube. I'm gonna make a YouTube page." They're like, "You gonna be on YouTube, Miss Bernice?" And I was like, "Yes." And I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, "Man, I know how to use YouTube, but I don't know how to make YouTube." So I had to phone a friend. I was like, "Listen," I said, I'm gonna go on YouTube University, that was also trial and error. But I started recording videos. I
Mm-hmm.
just recorded my hand. So if you see the videos, just my hand writing so that they can see the direction, so that they can practice. And oh my God, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But I was just like, okay, it's 26 letters. That was capital, lowercase. But I was like, okay, wait. That evolved into okay, because I tell them to write it 5 times. So I was like, okay, so they can write it 5 times. I was writing it 5 times, and I was like, okay, I did cursive and manuscript. Oh my God, it took me months. It took me months. Listen, for anybody that does not know, y'all watch the video, but you have no idea what it took to make that video. It took me so long just to record, and then I had to learn how to upload it. And I was like, oh my God, how do I do this? And then I eventually started adding story time to it and reading books so that they could have the benefit of practicing listening comprehension, and they could follow along. Sight words is a way for them to learn. So I encourage them to get help, and I would put captions on the video so that they can see the words flashing on the screen. Just some strategies to help with building literacy. And reading is actually the best way to build vocabulary, because you're going to interact with words that maybe you've heard but have never seen written before, or maybe you've never heard of before in a story. And children's books are the best vocabulary builders, in truth, in my opinion. So I got a chance to read stories. And so this book that I'm making, I'm gonna give you a little peek.
Okay.
Um, so this is financial literacy, which is something that our community also struggles with.
Mhm.
Um, this is part of my learning, um, learning words, and so I made it in a model where um, it's handwriting,
Okay.
and so this is what the page will look like, where they will learn how to spell the word. Can you see this word?
Yes. Yep.
They will learn the word. This word is scarcity. They
Mhm.
will learn how to spell the word. They'll get a chance to practice writing the word. And it's little puzzles on there, like a word search, to help them with letter recognition. So, for someone who struggles with illiteracy, but also wants to learn financial literacy, this will be a
Right.
benefit of them to them. And even if you don't struggle with reading, um, being familiar with these words, what they mean is going to be beneficial. And so my goal is to make this available very shortly. I'm just working on the formatting, um, so that people can have a list of vocabulary words that they will be learning, to help us to build our vocabulary with regards to financial literacy, which, man, you don't know what you don't know until you know that you didn't know it, and that's just something else to learn. So with this, they'll get a chance to practice spelling, handwriting, and they'll build their financial literacy vocabulary. So this will be coming out very soon.
And I love how you bridge the gap when it comes to spelling, writing,
Yeah,
and learning financial terminology,
yeah.
which I don't think no one's doing. And you created this world, and it's amazing. And everything you're doing is amazing. And I'm truly humbled that you came on the podcast to share your story, share what you're doing. Um, where can people get say goodbye to nightmares? And do you have an actual date for the financial literacy book?
So my goal. Oh gosh, what day is it?
Yes. I do believe it's 16th, May 16th.
Today is May 16th. I would like to have it available by June, no later than June 1st. Okay, I'm
Okay.
setting a goal. I
And
have
it's
to do
recorded.
that.
It's recorded in history.
I'm setting a goal to have it done no later than June 1st. Right now, I'm actually I have to get more books printed. Oh my God. I'm out of books. I've sold almost 100 copies of my book. I am not on Amazon yet because I've been trying to learn how to do the formatting. Um, Somebody said I can go to Fiverr and have it done, but the stubborn side of me wants to know how to do it because it's part of the process that I want to empower people with. So right now, if um, if they want a digital copy of this book, I'm out of physical copies. I have to order more. Um, Actually, I think I may have 5 of these left. I'm going to get more printed, I promise. um, if they want to support me with getting more copies, that's the struggle right now. Um, I wanted to write the story, but I didn't know everything that went into it. Even getting physical copies printed, all these things cost money.
Yes.
The more you can print, the less it costs. And so I ordered my first batch of 100 books, and I might have almost 10 books left. And so I've been shipping them out. So if I've been selling them direct, so people who are local, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, have been able to get it from me. But I do ship them. I have shipped a few of them. To get a digital copy right now, if they click the link on my bio on Instagram, um, they will be able to get a digital copy immediately because I will send it to them. I still don't have everything automated yet because I don't know how to do that part yet. I'm still working on it. And I'm working to get it on Amazon. Physical copy right now. If they send me a DM, um, I will send it out to them uh, immediately. And I got to get on Amazon. The thing about Amazon, though, the percentage that they take from that is, I'm just like, I wrote this book, not you.
No, no, it's true. It's true. You
It's
had
such,
all.
you know, and that's one of the struggles. Being an independent author, I didn't know until I went through it. Please support your independent authors. There are, you know how they say gatekeeping? There's so much gatekeeping when it comes to this industry. If you are self published, I didn't know this. There are even book festivals that I cannot even sell my book at because I'm not self published. You are only allowed to sell this if you are a self published author. If you did it yourself, if you're an independent author, you can't, you're not allowed to do that. That's not what they do. And then also, Amazon takes a huge chunk out, which is why, like, if your book, like this book is $12,
Right.
but I might get, if I sell this on Amazon, I don't even know if I'll get half of that from Amazon. But then one of the things is people say, well, can I find your book on Amazon? Because that's the popular thing.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
when you buy from the author directly through their website, then they get to keep the money from the work that they did. But if
Yes.
it's always on Amazon, Amazon's getting that money.
Yeah.
And we're getting the what's left over after Amazon. It's like get the taxes coming out of your paycheck
Yeah.
before you even you worked, but
Yeah.
the money came out and you get what's left. That's what it's like when an author has to put their book on Amazon to
Mhm.
sell it to you all,
Yeah.
to anybody. So if they can go directly to your website, or if you can go directly to that author's link to
Mhm.
order from them directly from their website, because when we have to use those third party things, it's cost
Yeah.
30%.
Yeah.
They're getting 30%. They're getting 40% off top,
Yeah.
and we get whatever's left. So I like direct sales. I like here. I do accept cash. Zelle me please, so I don't have to pay the fee. But I mean that's real, and sometimes people don't have those conversations, but it's true. And oh my gosh, illustrators, listen, why do they? So now they have all this AI, right?
Mhm.
But somebody that actually draws the book, it is not easy.
Yeah.
Because then after I drew the picture, I had to color it in. Oh my
Yeah.
Lord.
It's a lot of work to put into it.
And this was done digital. This was I had to learn how to use the digital thing so I could then do this. And I was like, respect the artists, people.
Yes. Yeah.
Respect
That.
that. But they can get it. DM me if you want a physical copy. I'll send you of whatever I have left, and I will order more copies. Now, somebody told me I should do a Kickstarter. Listen, if you all want to help fund me to order a next 100 copies, it cost me. It was almost 1,000. It was $700 something,
Right.
because you're paying per book.
Right.
And then I didn't want it to be super expensive, but I had to make some money off this as well,
Yeah.
so I could be able to continue to make more books.
Yeah.
I actually have three more books
Okay.
aside from this one that I want to publish, but it costs money to do that, and I don't have it. So listen, if y'all want to send me money, I do have a donation button
Yes.
on my link, so I can make more books. I would love to be able to give these away if y'all want to order them in bulk, so I can send them to your classroom. I would love to do that, or to your community center, or if you just want to give them away for whatever holidays, birthdays, all of the above. Um, I'm here. And dang, where's my poster?
Yeah.
Uh, Listen, one of my favorite artists of all time, Marcus Williams, Marcus the Visual, did
Yes.
me a poster. Okay, where's my tablet? Because if you see this thing, see my tablet? If you see how beautiful this poster is, that you can also get with the book. Um, with the book and the poster, um, it'll be $20 plus shipping and handling. Um, oh my Lord. Listen, I need this thing to work because it's so gorgeous. So Marcus the Visual, um, follow him as well.
Yeah.
Um, Amazing artist, did the artwork for uh, did a poster for me, and I'm like, Lord have mercy, Jesus. Those are all gone too. I had to print some more out. And I was like, dang, and I was like, I'm trying to see, did I post a picture of it on Instagram so I can show you all. Listen, this is me in the struggle for real with technology. Like, how did I do that? Where is it? I'm like, I know it's on Instagram. Let me see. Okay. So I'm gonna see if I can.
Okay.
Lord, hold on. Hold on. We're gonna try this again. Let's try this again. So I don't know. I don't know if you all can see that. Dang.
Yeah, because I guess because of the lighting.
That's terrible. So now you're just gonna have to go on my Instagram page and look at all my posts and comment.
Yes.
Please be like, you know what? This is actually pretty nice.
Yes.
Make a comment, please.
Make a
Even
comment.
if it's like this was a terrible video, put it in the comments.
But no, don't. It's not a terrible video at all. But yeah, definitely follow,
Miss
like,
Denise. Yeah, and
Denise
share,
off, and
please.
share. And also, she has a YouTube channel. Follow the YouTube channel too.
Yes.
Subscribe to the YouTube page.
And it's Miss Bernise, MSBERNISE. Hold on, did I
Yeah,
angle that right?
there you go.
Miss Bernise. This is on Instagram, Miss Bernise. On Facebook, somebody created a fake account.
Don't go
So
to that one.
if
Don't go
you're
to the
looking
fake
for
account.
Miss Bernise, man, and had the audacity to send me a friend request from myself. I was like, wow. I replied and I said, we are already friends. I know you very well.
Right?
Interesting. But I'm on Instagram and I am on TikTok, and I accidentally created 2 TikTok pages, which that was me in the struggle learning technology. So either one of those is fine as far as I know. Like, comment, share. If you click on the link on my bio, it'll take you to my actual.
Yes.
Follow me from there. It'll take you to the real page, not the one that's out there that's fake.
Yeah. And I'm with the real Bernise, Miss Bernise. And again, this has been an amazing conversation. Thank you for your time. I know you were busy. You got a phone call in the middle of the podcast. That shows how you're in demand.
And thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I don't take it for granted. Before we came on, y'all, he's very humble. He didn't even mention anything about his amazing podcast. I was telling him how impactful his podcast is to me. Watching it and hearing the stories, allowing for a platform for people to be able to communicate how they're feeling, especially men, which that's not always an easy thing because men get judged. Men don't always have a safe space that they feel comfortable enough to have a conversation, even if it's good news. Wanting to share that. How will people receive it? How do they share it? All that is part of their growth as well. And so, what you do to support them is amazing. Please like, share uh, everything on Dad is Not Enough. That name to me is just amazing. I was just like, that is so cool. I am a nerd. I enjoy it. And I was just like, that's right. It's not a noun. It's a verb. It's action. Listen, dad adds, that's action. So I'm just like, that is so cool. I love it.
Thank you.
I love the play on words. Um, Thank you for what you do, building community, helping with mental health. Um, we appreciate you. Um, Man, thank you. You helped me work out my issues with my dad, who is back in my life. I hadn't seen my dad in over 20 years. And so it's interesting getting to know my father, um, that I had been an idea of as a child, and now as an adult, getting to know him. It's interesting and weird, and a little uncomfortable sometimes, but also sometimes comfortable and relieving. So it's all the things, and some of the things that I've seen on your podcast help me through that. It allows me the time to reflect, and I think it's important for women to watch as well. I like hearing conversations that are had by men because it helps with insight. I do my best to be mindful and consider people. And men have feelings that they don't often express. And so I try to think before I speak. I think about my actions even when I'm in my feelings, uh, so that I don't cause injury to anyone just because I might have been having a moment. Um, because we all have them. Everybody has a bad day, but try not to do damage to anybody. And so your podcast conversations help. So I just wanted to say thank you.
No, that means a lot. But it's not about me. It's about the guests. And this is
Yeah.
again amazing conversation. Thank you so much for your time. Like, subscribe, follow Miss Bernise on YouTube. Follow her on Instagram. Follow her on TikTok, Facebook. The links will be in the description below. And donate some money too. If you
Please,
can.
because I want to print out books, and I like being. I've given away some. Because when a baby is holding a book in the hand, and it's like, oh man, this little girl, I put a post. She thought the baby in the picture was her. She said
Wow.
she thought it was her. It's so important for them to see images of themselves. So sometimes, if they don't have the money, I give the books away because I don't want to deprive them of a book.
No, you shouldn't. We shouldn't.
And
You
so, I
gotta
mean,
tell
if y'all want to give a donation so I can give the books away, I would love that, to just be able to be like, here, this donation is from, that would be
right?
that. So if you want to give a donation and be like, here, make more books. The
Yeah.
next set of 100 books. Now that was a couple of years ago. I don't know what happened with inflation. Oh my Lord, Jesus.
It's
Send Miss Bernise $1,000 so that she could print out the next set, and
the
that's only for
next.
one set of books.
Yeah.
That's a set of 100 books, about $1,000.
Yep. But again, this has been amazing, and we're out. Peace.
Peace.